Taking a hit, are U.S. athletes' rights being eroded? A small provision buried within the Workers' Compensation Act, a bill before the Illinois State Senate, could wind up as a big headache for Chicago's retired football stars. The provision would end disability benefits for professional athletes at 35, compared to 67 for the rest of the working population. Sources within the NFL Players Association traced the bill to a suggestion made by Chicago Bears owner George McCaskey, perhaps unsurprising, considering nobody else in the state of Illinois stands to benefit more from such a law. This bill, being sponsored by Illinois State Senator Christine Madogno, is simply designed to target professional athletes and take away their right to health care that every worker in the state of Illinois is entitled to, DeMaurice Smith of the NFL Players Union said this past Friday. The Bears owners are behind it as well. To be blunt, it's just another way to bankroll the coffers of the rich owners who own these teams at the expense of the players who actually do all the work. They're pushing the bill. Our understanding is they are the people who have lined up a lobbyist to promote the bill. Most likely, this bill won't be going anywhere. According to the Chicago Daily Law Bulletin, the bill is likely to die in committee, and it has not made any progress since it was added to the Senate's reading list on 25 January. But this story is worth noting. As sports leagues like the NFL take major hits in the courts, don't be surprised if more owners like McCaskey target legislative bodies, many now heavily Republican, to solve their legal problems. Even if this bill dies in committee, this is a distressing sign for those who care about labor rights in the sports world. This bill is a clear response to the major hits the NFL has been taking in court in recent years, specifically the $1 billion settlement in a class action lawsuit over concussions and the specter of more legal action as research on brain injury and CTE continues to progress. Rather than change the league or the sport to ensure safety for its players, team owners like McCaskey are instead trying to head off these legal troubles by calling on their friends in high political places to give them special treatment. The bill is not even about saving taxpayer money. Workers' compensation is paid by employers, or more commonly, their insurers, not the state. Instead, as Madogno put it, it's an effort to respond to the concerns from the business community that workers' compensation costs are too high. In other words, this bill would throw workers, professional athletes and everyday laborers, under the bus in order to keep cash in the pockets of bosses. The average NFL player has a career only 3 years long, and may exit the league and enter the workforce with debilitating injuries, not only the concussions, but also lasting injuries to joints and ligaments that prevent them from performing physical labor. Workers' compensation laws vary from state to state, but rewards are typically limited to medical coverage, disability pay limited to under $100,000 per year, and/or payment for vocational rehabilitation. The wage loss benefits in particular are paltry fees for a corporation like the NFL, which pulls in $9 billion in revenue yearly. The real killer for the NFL and their insurers is the medical costs. Already, a large portion of NFL players are on disability, with hundreds filing claims in California alone. Many others who have suffered injuries have found themselves stymied by the NFL and the supposedly neutral physicians who affirm or deny players' claims for benefits. Should a major scientific breakthrough like a test for CTE in living brains become available, those medical costs, and teams' insurance premiums, could skyrocket. Fully aware of this possibility, McCaskey and the Bears pushed for this legislation to cover their backs. The last decade or so has seen the professional sports world's business model attacked in the courts. The Ed O'Bannon case threatened the NCAA's amateurism by showcasing how the association profits off the images of college athletes. Concussion cases at every level of football have both damaged the public perception of the game's safety and the pocketbooks of its executives. Major League Baseball has found itself under fire from multiple angles for its treatment of minor leaguers and amateur players. McCaskey's amendment is far from the only legislative approach leagues have attempted in response to these new judicial challenges. MLB has pushed to classify its players as seasonal workers, which would allow teams to legally pay their players minimum wages, as they already do now. NCAA executives and college presidents have floated the idea of congressional action to codify the amateur model into law. One of the association's biggest expenses over the past decade? Congressional lobbyists. There couldn't be a better political climate for sports leagues to make these plays. While sports welfare